Okay, guys, so today we're going to talk about enchantment tables. And well, you can, if you come in here, you can see that I have enchantment tables.
Somebody
A
make
bunch
it
of books,
stop.
and if you put the
Please,
books
somebody make it
around it
stop.
like this, you can.
Somebody has to fix this. Somebody has to make a better video. It will be me. Alrighty, y'all, this is World Class Jerk bringing you the ultimate guide to enchanting. Now, given that that's a mighty bold claim, what is it that makes this the ultimate guide to enchanting, you may be asking yourself? And the answer to that question really is quite simple. It's because instead of giving you any statistics or things that you may not find useful, instead of telling you the things you don't really need to know or you don't want to know, I'm going to tell you things that really do apply in game. I'm going to tell you simple things that you can quickly apply to make this video go by as fast as possible and give you the information you really need. Aside from that, my style is absolutely amazing. I mean, who wouldn't want to watch a video from me? Anyways, with all that out of the way, the most important thing you need to know if you take anything from this video, it needs to be this, is that your enchantment table must be surrounded by 15 books if you want to get level 30 enchantments, which is exactly what you want to get. I mean, I would not even use the enchantment table until those are available because it's essentially useless otherwise. Now, something to note here is that there are a few ground rules. First, there cannot be anything in between the bookshelves and the enchantment table. Secondly, the bookshelves have to be of an equal level to the enchantment table or one block above. An important note here is that you can put bookshelves in the corners even though they're technically blocked by other bookshelves, but that will not affect this. So now with these here are 3 different designs that I've commonly seen used, and I'm going to explain each of them and why they're good or why they are in this case not, because the first one isn't. I've seen this one a lot, and I don't know if anyone really uses it, but I have seen it, and I will just say this one's almost entirely useless unless you have enough bookshelves for decoration like this not to be taxing on you. The reason for this is because this has 30 bookshelves instead of 15, which means, of course, you're using twice as many bookshelves as you need, so this design's pretty much out immediately, and that's why it sucks. Next up, we have probably the most common design from what I know, and it looks like this here. Now, this is good for centering, of course. If you want something in the very center and you want a little pathway that you can walk through, this obviously, as you can see, is ideal for that, and of course it uses exactly 15 bookshelves, making it no more expensive, and obviously no cheaper than what you would need. Now this last design, as you will soon see, is only fit for corners, but sometimes that is the only option, as in one of the bases I built very recently in fact. Putting it in the corner was definitely the best option I had, and I do not regret that decision because in some cases it really can look pretty good. Anyways, if you're not careful with this design, you'll end up using one more bookcase than what you actually have to use, because you do not need one down here, but you do need one right here, for example, and if you have one extra bookcase that you want to use, this probably looks better, but if you want to save it up as much as you can, this right here is the design you need to go for, but for sure be careful that you do not put one in the bottom of that corner, because you'll end up wasting in the end. Anyways, as you can see, that was pretty simple, but I still felt like it was worth mentioning, because if you don't set them up like this, they're entirely useless to you. Next up, we're going to talk about enchanting books versus enchanting items directly. Now, this really is the main reason I made this video, because enchanting items directly is far better than enchanting books, and I will go over those reasons later, but for now, let's enchant some books and see what the results are, and then we'll go on to explain why it's not as good. So right here in front of me, I have 9 books that I've enchanted with maximum level 30 enchantments on the enchantment table right there. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that all of these books, except for the last one here, only have 1 enchantment on them, which will make more sense later when I talk about enchanting items directly. The second thing, and probably the most important thing, is the variety, of course, because they are just books, you can put them on anything, so the variety has to be for all items. Here we have Smite 3, Riptide 3, Efficiency 4, Fire Protection 3, you get the point. They're all different, some is for armor, some is for swords, some is for tridents, some is for, whatever the game has, because that's what the enchantment books are for. They're supposed to target every single item. Now I know what you're thinking. You can combine the books, and then they'll have all of them on the same book. No problem at all, right? Wrong. The reason for this is because each time you enchant a book in survival or add another enchantment book to it, it gets more and more expensive in the anvil until you can no longer afford it. Now, there are of course ways around this, but since this isn't the best way at all, no matter what you do, I felt like I would spare you the information since I wanted to make this video as simple as possible, only giving you the information you need. Which leads us easily to the best way to enchant items, which is to enchant them directly and then combine them. So now in my inventory, I have 4 enchanted diamond pickaxes. Now I know what some of you are thinking, because a lot of us don't really mine a whole lot, and we don't have a lot of diamonds, so 12 kinda sounds like a lot, but ultimately, even if you don't mine much, even if you don't have a lot of diamonds, 12 diamonds is still a lot cheaper than putting all these books together, getting all the levels you need, and then putting them on the pickaxe. The simplest way to put it is that enchanting items directly and then combining them is always the best. I have not even looked at the enchantments that are on these pickaxes, and I can already tell you that at least one of them is going to be pretty good on its own, but once you combine them, you could have one that's pretty much entirely maxed out on its own. So I figured out that if we combine these 3 right here, we will have almost an entirely maxed out pickaxe. There are a few things we could put on it other than this, and that's not very lucky. I mean, that's just how it is. When you combine items, when you enchant items directly, you get not only more than one enchantment, but they are guaranteed to pertain to the item you have enchanted. So as you can see, the simple cost of 3 diamond pickaxes and enchanting them each, which is not very hard to do, okay? 9 diamonds and a level of 36 is all you would need to obtain this, as it would appear. But even if you got something slightly worse, it is still the best way to do it, because the books will not give you the same results without being overly expensive. So I've just done the same thing with 4 helmets. And if we combine these 3... we still got a pretty good loadout, which is a lot more diamonds than pickaxes, but still the books are significantly worse because that's what books are all about when it comes to enchanting versus enchanting the items directly. Now, this video was kind of awkwardly short, I will admit, but I was locked out of my Minecraft account for 2 days and still wanted to upload on Friday. Somehow I always manage having to rush my video on the last day, so I do apologize for the video being short and somewhat choppy in the manner in which it was recorded, but you gotta admit, that was one heck of an intro.